The title says it all. Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Sunday morning. Well, it's freaking Friday. It's freaking Friday. Oh, my God. I'm awake. You know what? I'm outside Tarbill. When Mike made that announcement today, it warmed my heart. I mean, it's unbelievable. We're doing Friday nights now. You guys can sleep in Sunday. I can't because the goddamn game from London's going to be on at 6:30 in the morning. My God almighty, the NFL. Before we get into anything, and then I'm going to get into something with Tyler down there. Why, guys, do you think we go to London? And how bad is it for the players? You've never heard anybody complain.
Yeah, I personally think that it's more about the money for the NFL that it generates by going to another market than it is for anything else. I do understand that there are fans in the UK that would like to see NFL games, but
it's got to be in the United States.
It's got to be hard travel on the players. It's got to be, a lot of sleepless nights, I would say, leading up to and after the game. It's not ideal for anyone, in my opinion.
I mean, and didn't the owner of the Jaguars, because he's so smart, he brought in that great coach that likes to go to strip clubs. But at the end of the day, didn't he want to do half the games there and half in Jacksonville?
He did. I mean, I think it's a smart idea for the NFL. They're going out, they're expanding to different countries and stuff like that, just trying to get more viewership. And
the young guns are talking. I'm shot down again. The young guns are talking. I'm shot down. Those are the young guns. Tarbill, wait, I've got to get our boy down here, our Packer fan. Before we get into any fantasy, and we got a lot of crap to talk about, a lot of people injured, breaking news on Russell Wilson coming up in a second. But Tarbill, listen, Tyler, I'll bet you $10 I'll take the Bengals with no points.
I mean, you got to bet then.
Do we have a bet?
It.
Oh, you got to bet. I mean, no hesitation at all there.
So we're just going Bengals straight up.
Yeah,
Bengals straight up. I'm writing it down. I'm marking my calendar. So I'm with you, Space. I want to see him lose.
The second that game's over, I'm going to be sending you my Venmo.
All right. I'm an ass. Tarbill, go ahead with the breaking news you just told me and Mouse about.
Well, I think you touched on it a little bit there. Russell Wilson expected to miss at least 1 week, I believe. All reports are saying he had surgery on his finger this afternoon. That was confirmed. So, Ty, you got a little bit more detail on that?
Yeah, I think you misread that. He's out for a month for sure at the Seahawks. I think it could possibly be 6 to 8 weeks, but he did have the surgery today. We got that report right before we came out.
I must have misread that then. But
it's the first time he's ever missed a game in his 9-year history. Georgie Bliss,
George.
Yes,
I don't know what he's talking
Bengals. First of all, it's the first time he's ever going to miss a game. Now the waiver wires will light up for Geno Smith. I think Geno Smith must be older than Brady.
I didn't even know Geno Smith was still in the league. If you guys would have asked me what team Geno Smith played for before last night, I would have no clue. I didn't realize he was the backup over there in Seattle, and he's been there since 19.
Until he came out, I thought he was out of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, you haven't heard anything from him since he ruined Eli Manning's consecutive game starting streak.
Hey, well, congratulations, Chicago. I'm sorry about the White Sox, but we got our boy. He's got a rough 6-game schedule coming up, Justin Fields and the Bears. He's got rough 6. They could actually, if it was Andy Dalton, we would sit here and say his next 6 games, if it was Andy Dalton, at best they'll be 2-4, at best.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And now without Montgomery, are we worried?
I'm not worried, only because I think that as long as Bill Lazor continues to call plays, I think that You'll see a lot of boot. You'll see a lot of play action. I think Williams will step up in a big way. Let's not forget that he was a Super Bowl running back just a few years ago for the Kansas City Chiefs. So
and let's not forget the comparison of the coaches.
Well, Matt Nagy's an ass. That's why I said if Bill Lazor continues to call plays, I think we'll be just fine. Now, with that being said,
Mooney, isn't it funny? We talked about Mooney. I asked you both, what's happened to him? And look at the game he had.
Oh my God, beautiful catches. I mean,
yeah,
that one catch along the sidelines there where Fields just dropped it in the basket. I don't think as Bears fans we've ever seen a quarterback be able to throw that accurate of a deep ball in the basket like that. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful throw, beautiful catch, and Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields could be a tandem that the league's talking about for years to come if they keep this up.
So, yeah, and that's the way I feel about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I think Mooney has the chance to supplant Allen Robinson in this offense and be the wide receiver one. He's been outperforming him so far this year, and I believe, I'm double-checking it right now, he is out-snapping Allen Robinson in every game. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but I think there's a chance that Darnell Mooney just keeps it up, and he's the wide receiver one for this offense.
So here's my hot take there. Allen Robinson is playing like garbage because he's mad that he's on the franchise tag. His agent went on Twitter and posted, I don't know if you guys saw this, Allen Robinson's agent went on Twitter complaining, posting about his usage in the game. And that's, come on. The guy's an $18 million a year receiver on a franchise tag. Get your ass out there and play and then settle the contract in the offseason.
And the franchise tag is not an insult. It puts you automatically in the top 5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Isn't that the average of the top
million.
5? And he's not a top 5 wide receiver, Robinson.
He is not.
Not anymore. We got our guy Fat Mike chiming in the chat here. He says, my running backs suck. What's a mediocre running back I can trade for? Ty, that's your specialty, mediocre players that are going to hit it on during the week. So go ahead.
So, I mean, if your running backs are that bad, and if you're looking for points now, trying to stack up some wins right now, I know Cordell Patterson has been outperforming what he has done his entire career, but he is out there producing. He's getting the touches, and in fantasy football, it's all about opportunity, less about talent. And while he's getting these touches and stuff, I mean, I think he's a nice trade target. You might pay a little high, but you're not going to be paying for the performances he's put up so far this year. He's still somebody that you can get at a reasonable value.
And Cook probably won't play again. Who's the backup? McKasick? How do you pronounce it? For the Vikings.
Vikings, Alexander Madison is the backup.
Alexander Madison.
Yeah. I mean, how many is he on? And now Devontae won the Ravens job, right? For running back?
Yeah, so that makes no sense whatsoever. So Latavius Murray is averaging
I'm still talking about
yards
London.
Per carry. And, I mean, Tyson Williams, it was a complete shock last week that he was ruled inactive right before the game. He was a healthy scratch. I mean, if you've watched any of the Ravens games, Tyson Williams by far looks like the better back. He's more explosive. He does better things with the ball in his hands, but the coaching staff does not trust him on pass protection. There has been a couple plays where you could tell he's not very good, not very comfortable in pass protection. So that's why the coaching staff has been moving away, and there has been reports that the Ravens are actually big fans of what they've seen out of Le'Veon Bell so far.
That's a great pickup maybe for Mike.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, here's the thing with Le'Veon Bell. You took a year off to try to prove your point like a diva. I hate that shit. I hate the divaness in sports anymore. You took a year off.
Don't be an NBA fan.
I'm not. I'm a Bulls fan, but I'm not an NBA fan. I'll tell you that. I just hate the divaness to it. But you take a year off. You go to a piss poor team over there in New York. Put up average stats at best, but you're playing in New York, so nobody can really attribute it to that. And then now nobody wanted you, so to speak, and you end up on the Ravens by chance. Is he going to perform well? It's yet to be seen, but I'm skeptical. I wouldn't put my birds in the basket, so to speak, on Le'Veon Bell at all.
All this crap that's happening with everybody, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, when he was doing all those things, holding out because they want more money. It's one thing Michael Jordan would never do. He honored his contract.
Agreed.
And these guys, when you look at the NBA, we were just talking off air about Ben Simmons. I mean, because he doesn't want to play in Philly anymore. Didn't he just sign a 4-year, $200 million contract? And now he has said he won't go to Philadelphia ever. I hope he gets traded to a piss poor team and has to go to Philadelphia for a championship game.
So,
I hate these guys.
I'll give you this as a perfect example.
Hate London.
Space. I agree. I'm not a big fan of the London game, but I'll give you this as an example of the NBA real quick before we get back to football. You look at a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who in the offseason thought that his agent thought he was worth north of $25 million a year. And
he turned down an offer of 4 years for $80 million.
Yes. Turned down a $20 million a year offer because he thought he was going to get more in the free market. And he ended up signing a 1-year deal for $5 million?
Yeah, for about $5 million.
It was for the mid-level exception.
Serves him right. You want to be that greedy? What's the difference between $20 and $25 million? It's still more money than you know what
Tyler will say $5 million. I'll say it's nothing. Hey,
I'm going to push back on you guys there. So these guys that are playing professional sports, they have a very, very small time window to make as much money as possible to set their families up for future generations.
Let Mr. Miyagi hit you up on that. Let Mr. Miyagi. You know what? Do the math. If you made $100,000 a year, which is a damn good, nice living, $100,000 a year, if you work like I did for 50 years. What is that? $5 million over 50 years? Mm-hmm. They make $5 million a game, some of them. Okay, that's a little high, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
When they come out, Justin Fields, I think his rookie deal is what, 40 million? Something like that?
I mean, that's
30 million?
The rookie.
Something along those lines, yeah.
You can't expect these players to be loyal to the teams they're on when these teams are not loyal to their players whatsoever. The first chance they get, they're shipping them off.
All right.
To London.
And that's why I hate the NBA. I'm starting to sound like our guy Fat Mike here.
Yeah.
I so want to talk about London.
I love the comments.
Tyler.
Packers fucking blow. Let's go.
Hey, first place in the division.
Till Sunday, buddy. Till Sunday.
Mike, type back. Do you like do you want half of my bet? Let's see if Mike does that. Since I'm screwed up on the half-hour clocks, Tarbill, I'll let you control the breaks of when we go. Right. When we come back, we'll go down the schedule and everything because I can't wait to talk about this goddamn London game because there's a lot of fantasy news in this game coming up.
Sounds good, guys. We'll be right back after a quick word from one of our sponsors here,
Mike,
Nick and Ivy Brewing.
My bet? I love.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show as well as the 1252 brand because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend. Or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
Guys, if you're out in the Lockport area, be sure to stop in and see our guy Paul over at Nick and Ivy Brewing. Some delicious brews out there. I believe They still have some Fat Mike Chicago lager left, as well as the Huebner IPA after our guy Fred Huebner. Catch him here Monday nights on the Hubes Views and Brews podcast. Fantastic location.
There's a rumor he's moving to Lockport.
Right up. That is true. I don't think that's a rumor.
He's moving to Lockport.
Yes, him and his girlfriend Linda are building a home out in Lockport, I do believe, as we speak. So congrats to Fred.
You know why? Nick and Ivy better restock the Uber Brew because Fred's going to be hanging out there.
Absolutely.
There is no doubt about it. Can we talk about the first game on the schedule? Not counting last night. And you know what? Matthew Stafford looked pretty damn good.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
even though, and it comes into coaching, think about it. For 9 years, Stafford had, or 7 years rather, had maybe one of the funnest, best wide receivers of all time, Megatron. And they never did anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that's because Detroit's
so
a
I'm just saying,
it's a cesspool where players go to end their NFL careers. I mean,
and so's the stadium. Okay, I get it at 6:30 in the morning Sunday. I'll be wondering where we are. I'll be sitting at my dining room table saying, "Where's Tarbill? Where's Tyler?" We start,
sleeping.
London should ban these guys. We sent to London 2 1 and 3 teams, and the home team in London is classified to be the Falcons, and they had 2 receivers decide not to go to London, correct?
Yep.
Yes, that's correct.
And one will impact fantasy players. One will affect fantasy players because Calvin Ridley did not go. The assumption, it says personal reasons. The assumption is obvious. The first thing you say is he's an anti-vaxxer, and I think you need to show proof right when you land.
I believe that's the case.
Calvin Ridley missed practice on Thursday as well with the personal reason, so I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think he actually does.
Well, maybe he did enough. Maybe he said, "F you guys, we're a terrible team."
I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
You know what? Speaking of that, here's an idea for next week's I want to look at. I want to have a little segment with the 3 of us of what picks have been wasted. When you think about, you talked about Allen Robinson for sure was the first Bear drafted. And what picks were wasted? Obviously, I drafted J.K. Dobbins in the 4th round, and I was ecstatic. I guess you shouldn't have anybody. So the Jets, Zach Wilson didn't look bad last week.
No,
he did not.
He did just enough for them to win. That's for sure.
I mean, he didn't look bad. It's really whatever. They have no running game. They have nothing. It's one of the, you talk about a snooze fest. I'll tell you right now, there won't be, take the under, they won't have a combined 30 points.
Yeah, this game is going to be a pretty bad game.
Yeah, and they're not going to get 30 points together. I mean, it's just players have to adjust going there, and the Falcons are screwed. Look what happened to Tennessee last week when they didn't have their 2 top receivers. And so this is a bad game. I wouldn't play anybody on any team. If you're desperate, you got to be really desperate to do this. Next game on the schedule, we got the Lions going to Minnesota.
Hold on.
What?
You said you wouldn't play anybody in that game. So with Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley not being there, they're going to force feed Cordell Patterson and Kyle Pitts the entire game. There's no other weapons on that offense. Those are the only 2 guys I would play from this game.
There's another thing that is going to be talked about next week. Kyle Pitts was supposed to be the wherewithal. And he could end the season in the second half being that way. But he truly, for where his draft position was, I guarantee you he ain't playing up to speed there.
No, agreed.
And there's going to be a thing called, okay, let's double team him. And
Yep.
I wouldn't touch anybody, but we'll see what happens. Tyler might be right, but we don't know. Can
Maybe
I go on to the
Cordell will have a
Minnesota
game.
game?
We'll see. Yes, now you can go on to the Minnesota game. Go ahead.
It's this new day part that's getting me screwed up. We got the Lions, the terrible Lions. You know what? Think about it. We can say this for tomorrow. I love watching college football, and tomorrow's slate is great. When you got Iowa going to Penn State, number 3 and number 4, to think about it, we could have one of those two in the playoffs. But do you see any first-round draft picks being quarterbacks? That kid Riddler on Oklahoma that everybody talks about, he's a strange kid. I don't know if he's a first rounder. I don't know if there's any first round quarterbacks.
I think this next draft class is going to be extremely weak when it comes to the quarterback position. Weaker than we've seen in a long time. And I think that's why teams were anticipating that. And I believe that's why teams went out and got quarterbacks as high as they did in this draft, because they knew there's just not going to be a lot there this coming season.
Mm-hmm.
And let me give you 2 names that I predict right now won't be on the team they're playing for right now. And both of them will be traded. First of all, they're going to trade Andy Dalton. Yes. You don't need those 3 quarterbacks on your team. They're our team. You don't think the Steelers would rather have Dalton at quarterback than old man Ben? I shouldn't put him down.
Forget about Pittsburgh. Houston. Houston is the obvious trade spot for him, in my opinion.
Seattle is the perfect
opportunity. Now, there you go, Seattle. But you know who? Trubisky has, everybody loved to shoot Trubisky. Denver would be a playoff team if he was their quarterback right now. Better than
I wouldn't say all that.
I mean, I think they still have the potential to be a playoff team, even with Teddy Two Gloves as their quarterback.
Teddy Two Gloves. Teddy Bridgewater is not leading any team to the promised land.
I mean, he doesn't have to do much. He's just got to manage the game and let the defense do their thing.
That is fair.
And they got a real nice running tandem going there, too.
Yes, they do.
Is there anything to talk about? Vikings questionable is Dalvin Cook.
Yes, Dalvin Cook.
The Lions, does it really matter other than the tight end?
Hawkinson.
The tight end of the Lions, whatever it is, Hawkinson. Whatever.
DeAndre Swift as well. DeAndre Swift. Running back 1-2.
Right. So, you have that. Now, the big game. Saints going to Washington. What happened to Washington's defense?
Who knows, dude?
They threw in the towel last week. That's for sure. They were horrible.
Yeah, and that guy, who was the guy again that was taken so high, their first pick last year? He was Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm spacing on his name. That's why my name is Space. Yeah, and you don't hear from him at all.
Nope.
I don't know if you guys
And Antonio Gibson finally scored his first touchdown last week.
So Antonio Gibson is playing with a stress fracture in his shin right now.
And he's playing. You know who's really good? That Terry how do you pronounce his last name? That's what I ask you guys. I'm like from a foreign country. How do you pronounce McLaurin? What's his name?
McLaurin.
Every time I look at a box score, if Washington has 7 points, he caught a touchdown. I don't know how he does it, but he plays the same way with whoever his quarterback is.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any word about Fitzmagic coming back?
He's on IR. The minimum stint on IR is 3 weeks, so I think this
3 weeks. So isn't this the third week?
It is. I don't think there's been any updates. Let me look.
I'm actually a big fan of the kid that they have filling in for him right now.
Yes, the guy who's named after a beer, Heineke.
Yeah. Yes. No, Taylor Heineke.
And you could probably get Heineken at Nick and Ivy, or they only, brews.
Only house brews.
Okay.
But as far as Taylor Heineke goes, he's got a really interesting backstory. So he was actually a bench player in the XFL when the XFL came out, and
Mm-hmm.
he ended up playing in a few games there before the XFL crumbled, gets picked up into the league as a backup, and then now through injury to Fitzmagic, he's getting an opportunity, and he actually played pretty well for a guy that was an XFL quarterback 2 years ago. So that just goes to show
I
you never
enjoyed
know.
watching the XFL. They had good cheerleaders.
I was a big
And give
fan
me
of
good
the
cheerleaders.
XFL.
That's why I like watching Dallas. Here, Tyler, to answer you what you asked earlier, the Falcons, New Orleans, the Jets, and San Francisco all are on bye next week.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I mean, where would you rather have your bye week? 6 or 13?
I'd rather have it at 13 to give my team a little bit of time to recoup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there's some injuries, you're starting to get banged up later in the season, that gives guys a week to do some cold therapy and relax, maybe get themselves back to 100%. I think a week 6 bye week it's just too darn early, in my opinion. You're just getting
It's
into
way
the
too
season.
early, but it really not that early. It's really probably good for Zach Wilson for the Jets. Atlanta has to figure out to do something. And I mean, and trades can happen. Saints, do we get a good game out of Jameis or a bad game going into Washington? And the same thing with Kamara. He's not doing what.
So that offense right now looks terrible. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Sean Payton, if it's Jameis Winston. I have no idea what it is, but right now that offense looks pitiful. It doesn't help that they don't have any wide receivers. But no, it depends. What offense we see from the Saints depends on what defense we see from the Washington football team. If they come out,
and think about what you just said, the
defense,
receivers. We have heard nothing about Michael Thomas. Here's a guy who signed, if I'm correct, last year, the biggest wide receiver deal of all time. And then he pouts and then he gets hurt, and we haven't heard a word about him. I'm wondering if he'll be traded.
So there's
except that contract's going to be a heavy contract to take. Huh?
There's too big of a cap hit to trade him, so that's why the Saints haven't explored any trade talks for him.
So they're just going to let him sit at home the entire
we're still
year?
on.
He's hurt right now. He's on the PUP list. He should be back
on the PUP list. Okay.
Back after the bye week. I think it's week 8. He's eligible to come back to his first game.
Okay.
I'll find that out too. The next game on the schedule, Patriots going to Houston. Mac Jones sold me something in the loss. You know, there can be good things taken from a loss, and Mac Jones outplayed Brady as far as I'm concerned.
He did outplay Brady in that game.
Yeah, I would agree.
But Gronkowski is out again for the second week. Yep. He's not playing. He's definitely out. So if you have him, but they do have Brait. They do have O.J. Howard. They have some competent tight ends, and obviously the receivers. Fournette, you know, he's a B running back. And I thought, you know, the Patriots, well, I got it, and I'm talking about them now. The Patriots, Mac Jones, Damian Lewis, is he a good pick? Damian Harris.
So with this game, the Patriots, I believe, are going to be missing 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen. So, I mean, just with any team, that is a rough hill to climb. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I like any options from this game outside of Brandon Cook.
Would you?
Brandon Cook?
But look who's throwing it to him.
Look who's thrown the ball to him his entire career. No matter who's throwing it to him, he's always producing.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. I'll give you that.
While we're on the Texans, let's talk a little bit, Deshaun Watson. Isn't this time somebody steps up and stops screwing around with this crap? This guy is arguably a top 5 quarterback in the league, maybe a top 3. Because I put Rodgers down a little bit, Tarbill. I don't know if you know that.
That's what I appreciate about you.
Have we not heard that piece of crap commissioner say big on going to London, but shouldn't somebody say something about what's going on with Watson? How do these women, we saw all these women accuse Trump. Trump still won for president. Okay, and I feel bad for every woman, but nobody's doing anything. And they're wasting this guy's great talent.
Yeah, I think you really just got to see how the investigations play out before he's going to see any field time. It's obvious that there's the implications that are against him need to be settled before he gets back on the field. And yes, he is a very talented guy, but until those legal matters get solved, he's not going to be back on the field.
I'm telling you, I just don't get it. And I thought commissioners are there to try to run things properly.
I mean,
that's
so
all
the situation now is his trade value is completely gone. And then he said over and over and over again, he is not playing another game for the Texans. So, I mean, the Texans are just stuck. They cannot do anything here until this is all done.
Right.
Because we know for sure, even if, just hypothetically, if everything comes clean, he's cleared of everything, he's still not going to be playing for the Texans. So, I mean, that's just
he's never going to be playing there.
Right now. No.
I mean, and I think Miami and the owner would trade for him and take a gamble because the Miami Tua, can we all now say sometimes a great college quarterback doesn't translate to the pros? Tebow, obviously, maybe the greatest college quarterback. And then you just mentioned off the air, Tyler, Jamarcus Russell.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think it's still too early to write Tua off. I mean, we haven't even seen a full season of him. He
got benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick.
But you got to think, last year there was no training camp or no off-season program. There was no preseason or anything like that. Just in the middle of the season, like, all right, we're throwing him in there. And, I mean, he did not have the reps with all the ones or anything like that. And then he comes out this year and
I'm only going to bring up the purpose of he did play a pro offense.
Mm-hmm.
Where he came from. And I would venture to say the way Jacksonville Jaguars are playing right now, that they don't practice as smartly as the Alabama Crimson Tide do.
Roll Tide.
I think he had better schooling in Alabama than he did in Miami.
I mean,
I really do.
I think it's just the speed of the game in the NFL compared to college. It takes some guys longer to get the grasp of it than other guys. I mean, I just think it's too early.
Maybe he'll play when I'm dead. Too early. Hey, a fun game. Eagles going into Carolina. Can the Eagles do anything? Is Hurts on the way out? Do they trade for a quarterback? Do they bring back Nick Foles?
Bring back Nick. No, excuse me. I don't think that they go away from Jalen Hurts yet. I think it's way too early in his development to make a decision like that. And he's a great gadget player for fantasy. And I've got him as a quarterback in 3 leagues. So I sure as hell hope that they don't bench him.
You're welcome for that.
The problem is that head coach. That head coach is nothing. What did Miles Sanders carry the ball once last week?
I believe so. Yes.
Yep. Or no, that was 2 weeks ago against Dallas.
Okay. Dallas is going to the Super Bowl, boys. We'll talk about that in a second. Dolphins.
They're going to have to beat the Bears to get there.
Do you think they drive to Tampa Bay? Do you think the Dolphins drive to Tampa Bay? How far is Tampa Bay from Miami?
Couple hours.
I'm going to do that. Do you think they do? The Buccaneers, I think, are just going to run all over. Something with the Buccaneers, something with Brady. They're not clicking on all cylinders.
I'm back to your first question. I think they fly. I'm sure they probably fly. I once flew from Chicago to Kalamazoo, Michigan. It was a 15-minute flight.
I got a picture from my daughter. My daughter and son-in-law were leaving Chicago this afternoon. They'll probably be on the news to go to Las Vegas to celebrate his 50th. And she sends me a thing. There's 2 guys on the plane that won't put a mask on. 3 Chicago. They move the plane. They park it. 3 Chicago cops get on. Of course, 2 of the 3 had trouble going down the aisle because our Chicago cops eat a lot of Italian beefs and sausages and everything else, and took the guys off. And they were delayed for over an hour getting there because what's wrong with people? What's wrong with people? We're not living in the Squid Game, boys, by any way, shape, or form. See? Told you I'd get a measurement. Baker Mayfield reportedly has been playing all year with a torn labrum. How do you pronounce it?
Torn labrum. It's something in your shoulder.
Thank you.
So it's not his throwing shoulder, but it is painful with taking hits and stuff like that and still going through the throwing motion. But it hasn't been impacting his throwing too much. I mean, obviously, he hasn't been very, very good this year. But I mean, I'm not too worried about it. I think he could keep playing through it.
I will tell you, I am a little worried about it. I don't think Cleveland's going to re-sign him. I really don't think he fits into their plans at all. Him and Beckham, OJ, are not on the same page at all. I know at the press conference today, I saw OJ, saw him talking a little bit. We'll get there. Well, when?
Get there
Almost
now.
1/3 of the season is gone. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
OBJ
I mean,
also missed the first couple of weeks coming off the torn ACL, so they didn't have all those reps coming into the season to get on the same page.
That's true. But at some point, when you have a star caliber receiver, like many would argue OBJ is, you've got to be able to put the ball in the basket for him. I mean,
so we've seen it the last couple of years. I don't know what it is, but Baker Mayfield does play better when OBJ is not in the lineup. When OBJ has been hurt,
yes,
Baker
that was
Mayfield
proven last year,
better.
and that's why they made the playoffs.
Right.
But now, if he's not playing well with OBJ, and you have Jarvis Landry out, you know, there is that guy named Schwartz on that team that had a great college career. He's a good receiver.
So
I forgot his name. And isn't it amazing that, Chubb does all the work, Hunt gets the touchdowns. I mean, last week, I go crazy. I wanted Chubb real bad this year, but what stopped me from drafting him was Kareem Hunt, because Kareem Hunt is that good. And I'm just very, very surprised that there's got to be traders out there. There's going to be a lot of trading going on. You don't see a lot of guys dropping. Wait, you guys hear this? Guess who's in quarantine?
Who's that?
Allen's second favorite receiver, Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley
is in. Hey, Cole Beasley is truly a great slot receiver. Let's call it like it is. And Allen loves him, and this guy won't get the shot. And now he's in quarantine because he came in contact with a guy who was vaccinated but got COVID. I don't understand how they do this. I don't understand any of that. Like, my wife had to go to a charity function the other day, and she's been triple vaccinated. She even got the booster, but she had to go get an Insta test to make sure she doesn't have it before she could get into this event.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy. We don't understand it. And if you don't understand life, watch the Squid Game. You'll understand it.
Man,
the Squid Game.
Are you getting checks from Netflix over there, Jeff?
No, but I'll tell you a great story before we take. I got to figure we got another break coming up, Tarbill, right now.
Yep.
So, funniest thing of all, I used to work when I was at Fox Sports Radio. Pat O'Brien, the guy who used to do around the NBA, infamous guy. He used to get checks. He voiced a Warner Brothers cartoon. And every time TBS or TNT or they get a check. And he showed me a check that was for 57 cents. I gave him $1 if he would sign over the check to me. If I could find it, I will find it and show it next week. I promise, because I'm in a better mood on Friday.
All right, guys, we're gonna.
Do we want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a quick break and hear from a couple of our sponsors, and we'll be back here with you in just about 60 seconds.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
Real estate is hot right now, and you need an attorney to handle all of this. My guy, Mark Berardi, does this all day long. He's a straight shooter. There's no fancy language. He's just to the point. And he and his team get the deal done. There's no BS. He also does estate planning, trusts, wills, and power of attorney. He has great reviews up and down the board from a ton of happy clients. For him and his big team, they're all just down to earth and normal people as much as he is. You will not be disappointed you went with him. He's located in Homer Glen and New Lenox and handles real estate all over Illinois. There's no place too far, so give him a call today at 708-942-8030. Again, that's 708-942-8030, or look him up online at Mark Berardi and Associates.
And we're back. We've got a little bit of it all here. You can get married. You can buy a property. You can get divorced, go to Nick and Ivy to drink your sorrows away. We got a little bit of it all here at 1252 Sports.
And that's what's important. And that's what the 1252 Sports Entertainment Network is all about. Let me tell you, we got just before we leave you for today, there's a couple of games we need to address. And we'll save the Bears-Raiders for last before we sign off. Big game in Kansas City. Bills and Chiefs. Big game.
Big game.
Who do we like
Bills
as a
win.
bet, Tyler? Who do we like on that? What's the point spread and who do we like?
So Buffalo right now is a 2-point underdog in this game. Oh, well, that was the last time I looked. They were a 2-point dog. It might have moved a half a point either way. But honestly, with this game, I don't even know. I don't know who's going to win. Kansas City, we all know about Patrick Mahomes, but lately they haven't been playing up to par with what we've seen before. And then Buffalo's just been running the score up on everybody the last couple of weeks. And I mean, they haven't had the best opponents, but they've been playing well.
I've got a wild single game parlay for you guys on this game. You heard it here first. Tyreek Hill for a touchdown and Mitchell Trubisky for a rushing touchdown. I think both are going to happen on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. I like that. And you know what I think part of the problem is in Kansas City? Kelsey's been much more quiet than normal. And Hardeman has disappeared. They needed him to step up as the second receiver.
Hey, who cares about Mecole Hardman? Guess who's back? Flash Gordon, baby.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, my God.
We don't know if he's back yet. He might celebrate tonight by smoking a J. Hey, we playing some? Oh, shit.
Well, the rules have changed.
But Josh Gordon's back. Okay. Do you draft him? Do you take him?
Well, the rules have changed with that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So NFL players can no longer be suspended for a positive marijuana test.
Yep.
Right.
Correct.
That was collectively bargained. So I think even if Gordon's bonging it out all the way up till game time, he'll be all right.
He was great when he played.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would you pick him up and play him?
I'm not going to play him. He is a DFS dart throw. I'd prefer to use him in the showdown slate. I wouldn't trust using him, but if you have an extra spot on your roster, I wouldn't mind. He's the definition of he's a lottery ticket. He has all the upside in the world. I mean, we're still waiting to see a wide receiver 2 breakout from Kansas City. We haven't seen it yet.
Right.
And this is the best quarterback we've seen Josh Gordon play with. So, I mean, I think it might take.
That's the point of the show.
Right
there, Tyler wins the point of the show. No matter what else has been said or what's going to be said, Tyler, that's the best take. Here's a big game, and it could be a real statement game for how the 49ers screwed things up. 49ers go into the only undefeated team in the NFL, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're going to lose.
I like the Cardinals. There's something wrong with the 49ers. They screwed this whole thing up with Garoppolo and Trey Lance, I think.
Go ahead, Tarbill.
As the famous John Madden would say, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0.
You have none.
In that regard, I think, yes, the 49ers definitely screwed up the quarterback situation. They waited until, obviously, Jimmy G is injured now to let Lance have a go with it. And he's going to have a rough first game. I mean, we saw it with Justin Fields in Chicago. When you don't have the consistent reps with the ones in live action, it takes some time to get acclimated. And boy, he's going to have a rough time trying to keep pace with Kyler Murray and that explosive Arizona Cardinals offense that they've had these last few weeks.
Is Kyler Murray maybe the most exciting quarterback we've seen since maybe Randall Cunningham?
Oh,
I loved watching.
I think so.
Yeah,
I loved watching Cunningham play.
He is wonderful to watch play.
I mean, and their wide receivers, and I'll tell you, I didn't think Chase Edmonds at the draft was as good as he's playing right now. I love Chase Edmonds and that tight end. He's got a weird last name, Huckaboo, CJ, whatever it is. He came out strong last week. I love the Cardinals.
You're confusing Max Williams.
I'm confusing all these names. No, Max Williams. Did you see that hit he took on that first touchdown pass? He was smashed so hard that I thought he was going to drop the ball. And he just the guy's a monster.
Yeah, no,
I love
Max Williams a lot the last couple of weeks. He's been very much involved. They've been spreading the ball around to everybody.
If anybody needs a tight end, Max Williams is the thing. And in betting, the Cardinals are going to win by double digits.
So
I would agree. It's not going to be close.
Before we move on, to the next
27
game,
to 17 is double digits. But Kyler Murray, because that's going to be a national game, Kyler Murray is going to run that score up because he wants the fame and fortune for that next contract.
Absolutely.
Let's spend our last time on the Bears' first hard game out of the next 6. Is it a double-digit win for the Raiders?
God, no. Space, where's your confidence in Justin Fields?
Well, I don't know if I have confidence in a rookie yet, especially with a coach that's maybe only been coaching the offense for 2 weeks. And the Raiders have been playing some pretty good ball, and it's in Las Vegas. I actually think, I think it's going to be a big win for the Raiders, and I want the Bears to win, and I want Justin Fields, my most fun quarterback since the days of McMahon. And I mean, McMahon, I love quarterbacks that are fun. That's why I like Deshaun Watson. He was a fun quarterback to watch. Mitchell Trubisky was like the Statue of Liberty, and everything else. And I said that on purpose for one thing. My pick of the week And I think that's what we should all do. One pick of the week that's going to blow things away. Daniel Jones is going to go into Dallas, and the Giants are going to upset Dallas Cowboys.
Whoa. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Come on, George Bliss. You shot me on taking the Bengals straight over the Packers. I think he is going. The Giants, now that Saquon seems to be back to as normal as can be, I think the Cowboys are going to take a little step back, a letdown that they can beat this team. And there's something about the Giants that perks my interest. There's always games like this, guys. We know that. It's our job, I think, sometimes to try to find these guys and let them be some guy who loses that damn space. I lost because of him. Screw him. I'm listening to Mouse from now on. But whatever, I just feel that Daniel Jones, don't ask me why. It's just my feeling. And what are you looking at about Daniel Jones, Tyler? I know you got something.
So Daniel Jones, so when we get to the streamer part at the end of the show, Daniel Jones is my favorite quarterback streamer this week. He is not turning the ball over. He's doing enough with his feet to give him a solid floor every game. Sure, he had a dud 2 weeks ago against the Falcons. But you saw what he did last week against the Saints, a fantastic defense. He went out there and he played a hell of a game, and now he's going up against a softer Dallas defense, which they are better than they have been in the past couple of years, but they are still allowing a lot of yards. I think Daniel Jones he's primed for a big game. I think he's a low-end quarterback one this week, and he's a nice quarterback to use in daily fantasy this week because he's going to be a cheap option.
Okay, well, fuck Daniel Jones. Can we go back to the Bears? No.
Damn, I was going to get this show on terrestrial radio.
You want a pick of the week? I'll give you a pick of the week right here with our Chicago Bears. My guy Darnell Mooney is going to have an exceptional game, over 100 yards and at least one touchdown on Sunday.
Will that be enough?
No.
It will, because we're going to have one by him, one by Robinson, one by a tight end in the end zone, and one by Justin Fields with his legs. 4 touchdowns for the Bears on Sunday.
Since we do have a couple more minutes, I'm going to give you a second sure thing. Ben Roethlisberger does not finish the game against the Broncos Sunday.
I will take that.
Didn't you say that last week, Space?
I will take that bet.
Hey, he did play pretty bad, and look at he's getting broken. What, Tyler?
I will take that bet any day of the week because Mike Tomlin came out the other day and said Big Ben will never be benched.
I'm not talking about being benched.
So you think he's going to get murdered out there?
He could be the second player ever murdered on an NFL field. I think he's just breaking guys. And I think there's going to be one tackle from Denver because what a defense they have. I think there's going to be one time he ain't getting up. And that's what and then that team's got to go out and get who they're going to put in Rudolph. They're going to put in,
Haskins. Dwayne Haskins. Yeah.
I mean, they have to go out and get a quarterback. I don't
Andy
think
Dalton, send him over.
You want to do, huh?
Andy Dalton, send him over.
And he knows the division, Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be a good play for them. Dalton isn't a bad quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's right there. You know what I always say about Andy Dalton? Yeah, and he's never going to lose the game for you, but he probably won't win it. It's sort of like standing Ben and Jerry's ice cream all day when they're open. You'll never hear anybody order vanilla ice cream, but everybody loves vanilla ice cream. I mean, that's Andy Dalton. He's just vanilla, and he's just not going to break your train. And I mean, do you think the Jaguars? Do you feel sorry for Lawrence? Do you feel sorry for Trevor Lawrence?
A little bit.
The situation is a mess right now.
I mean, this could ruin the kid.
Yeah.
When
Urban
you go
Meyer's
there,
an idiot.
I mean, and did you see what his wife said?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. The
Everybody
whole
screws
situation
around
is,
a little bit. So I guess they have a swinger relationship. I guess they go to swinger clubs. The wife, I saw the video. She was grinding the guy. I've been there. I've done that. My wife don't watch, does she? But the end of the day, everybody screws up. I'm waiting to see her at a Chippendale show with men grinding her. I mean, the NBA started this. Players are getting a little bit too much power. And when I say players, anybody that's not management, you do need to control certain things. Urban Meyer made the mistake at the beginning when he brought in Tim Tebow. Well, no, actually, it was the offensive. Was it his offensive?
Yep.
Some guy that had, what was it, Tyler?
No, I was man, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a whole scandal, and then he ended up resigning right away.
Right.
Yeah. And then he brought in Tim Tebow, and just all this drama. I mean, I just don't understand it. You're a professional head coach. You're going in there. You don't want your guys to be a distraction off the field. But then you go out there and you lose a game. You do not fly back with your team, and then you're out there freaking sticking your fist up a college woman's butt, just out there messing around.
And think about it.
Video.
You chose to do that. You chose to do that and fly back to Jacksonville with your team.
With your 0-4 team.
I mean, it would have been all right.
Your team that needs talking to. Sit with Lawrence a little bit and say, we're not. You know, the one thing that I thought when they drafted Lawrence, the year that Robinson had last year, I thought the offense was set for Lawrence. You know, they have
they're going to ruin that
great
kid out
receivers. Yeah. Because it's going to go on. He's done it already. What did they say? Part of the problem that Baker Mayfield has is one too many coaches since he's been with Cleveland. You know, every year it's a new coach. You can't learn properly from that.
No.
Do we have a live show, a new show that's after us? What do we have after us?
So absolutely right after, well, I shouldn't say right after, there'll be a slight gap, but we do have Harry the Greek in the Over Under podcast. His second week will be tonight at 8 p.m., I believe, is his start time. So make sure you're over there checking him out for all of his hot bets. He will definitely give you a bet that's better than what Tyler will give you at the end of the show, because Tyler's been 0 for 8, I believe.
Should we? What, Tyler? You're 0-8.
I think Tyler's not with us. I think
does the Packer-Bengal bet count when the Bengals win 27-17? Look at it, he hung up.
I think Tyler's having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, I'm having technical difficulties too. So, Tyler, next Friday we'll show a $10 bill, and you'll. I don't think I have Venmo. I think I have the other thing. What's the other thing? Don't forget, I'm an old man. You're the young guns.
Hey, pal.
I'm going to call you the young studs. Tyler, go back to the family. Tarbill, do your thing. This is the 1252 Sports Entertainment Network, the best sports you're ever going to find. Listen to Fat Mike when he does his show. It's awesome. And Freddie, I love you. Guys, have a great week. A successful week, most importantly, a healthy week. The world's best fantasy show saying bye-bye.
See you guys. Talk to you next week.
Have a good week, guys.